going to take some getting used to. So the time bangle, time bracelet has propelled me through the time tunnel, and welcome to our Cumbrian Neolithic Adventure. YouTube is full of Neolithic content, but everybody obsesses about Stonehenge and Avebury. Where we are today, Long Meg and Her Daughters, is a fantastic late Neolithic, possibly into early Bronze Age site that doesn't attract anywhere near as much attention. So via the time tunnel, we're here today to change that. There is some debate as to whether Long Meg and Her Daughters is the second or the third largest Neolithic stone circle in the UK by circumference. Avebury is bigger, but it tussles with Stanton Drew in Somerset, whether it's second or third place. But certainly, unlike the Stonehenges and the Aveburys, one of the fantastic things about Long Meg is that the circle is relatively Let's go and take a look to it. Whilst the discovery of the time tunnel is undoubtedly a real boon to me as a YouTuber and a vlogger, I can literally go anywhere in time and space now I've got access to it, I have picked up some rather unsavoury pursuers, so do forgive me if I suddenly have to depart in a hurry. I think I'm right in saying that there are 69 stones in total in the circle. The daughters are from the local rhyolite stone, whereas Long Meg herself, who we're going to take a look to shortly, is the local red sandstone. These rhyolite stones have sort of crystals in them. The red sandstone of Long Meg is obviously a standout sort of feature, and we'll look at that in more detail shortly, because it is really amazing. But what was it actually for? Of course, trying to unpack what these stone circles were all about is something that antiquarians and experts have been tussling about for years. Hey, I can hear you screaming at your devices. When are you going to get that fake drone up and show us these daughters? Well, we'll do that now. We'll go around the circle, take a look at the daughters, and then we'll get the drone over and have a look at Long Meg herself. I don't know why I said that like that. On the time tunnel, we have access to a little red book, and I'll consult with that now to give you some facts as we do our fake drone flyover. So it's a classic stone circle in the Neolithic tradition, megalithic tradition, perhaps I should say. Originally, they think there were 70 stones. I may have earlier said 59 or 69. There are all sorts of different numbers on the internet, but the experts think it was 70, and there are 27 upright today. It's 106 metres on the long axis. Long Meg, hold your excitement, you're going to see that in a bit, is 3.6 metres tall and contains megalithic art. Now, the experts have been at it again, and the infrared has shown that beneath the circle is a super henge. So the site was in use before the circle was erected. And they think that was about 1500 BC that the stones actually went up. It is part of a series of Neolithic sites along the river valleys in this part of Cumbria, including Maybury, Glastonbury, Old Parks, which has been destroyed by idiots, and the ridiculously named King Arthur's Round Table. We may get to see some of those in future editions of the time tunnel. Now, the ditched enclosure around the farm to the side of the circle is also Neolithic, and that predates the circle. And this is where we get to my sort of view that I think this was very much a gathering place, trading centre, something like that. But of course, all the experts and all the mumbo jumbo people think it's got something to do with rituals and all that sort of stuff. There is some evidence to suggest that it does mark the seasons, the solstices, that sort of thing, in terms of the way the shadows work on the stones, and there is an interesting sort of notch that we'll perhaps have a look at on Long Meg that I think marks the vernal equinox and the lunar equinox. There's some facts for you from our little red book whilst we fly over the circle. We've now reached that inevitable part in the vlog where I put up some sort of overlay and you can have a look from above. And there she is. What a beauty! Unlike the daughters that are made of rhyolite, Long Meg herself is made from the local red sandstone. So she stands apart from the others in terms of her colour, but also in terms of the position. She is located outside the main circle. She stands alone. We will be dealing with the typical stone circle mumbo jumbo stuff shortly, but in the meantime, let's just concentrate on the proper Neolithic stuff. And I'm going to show you the amazing markings that we have here on the side of Long Meg that faces into the circle. There are 3 markings. Here we have got a circular, I think they call that cup and ring mark. That one is quite distinct. And then the faintest one is here. I don't know if you're going to be able to make that out on the camera. And then down the bottom, we have another sort of spiral cup ring mark type thing. And in a really jarring edit cut, I'll come round to the other side of Long Meg. I've now lost my coat because it's really actually hot. It must be properly spring now. And we'll have a look at the side of Long Meg facing out from the circle. And you will see that it has this sort of glittering, crystalline sort of shine to it. So we've got a glittery, crystalline outward face facing out from the circle, and we've got cup and ring marks facing in. What that means, Lord only knows. You can see the notch there on the top of Long Meg. I think that marks, that lines up with the sun or the moon or something in the autumn equinox. And it shows quite nicely in the shadow there today. As I mentioned earlier, the stone circle here is very well preserved. Unfortunately, we do have this road that has been driven through the circle at some stage by an idiot. But apart from that, it is in great order. There was one attempt to blow it all up in the 18th century to make gateposts, but apparently when they attached the hooks to pull the stones out, there was a horrific storm with thunder and lightning, and everyone ran away scared. And I totally believe that. Whilst the road is slightly annoying, it probably is pretty ancient. It cuts through this corner of the circle, and then it heads down there to the farmstead. You're all going to want some mumbo jumbo, aren't you? And here, the story goes that the stones are a coven of witches led by Meg of Meldron, I think it was. Meg and her coven were turned to stone by a wizard, a very mundane wizard called Michael Scott. Meg of Meldron, or Meldon, whatever it was, is believed to have been the witch Margaret Fenwick, who was from Morpeth, over 70 miles away. Sounds unlikely. Other mumbo jumbo in our time tunnel red book includes the classic stone circle thing that you can't count the stones and get the same number twice. If you do, then it's variously either bad luck, or you can put your ear up against Long Meg and she will whisper to you. We're going to go and have a quick look over here at the farm. Known today as Long Meg Farm, it is sited on a Neolithic enclosure that predates the circle. I think I've already said that, but never mind. With your attention spans, it doesn't do any harm, does it, to repeat myself? It's all private, you can't get to see it. We are disbarred. But in there, in Neolithic times, all those years ago, people lived who then went on to decide that they needed to build a great big stone circle. I'm sure the experts are right. There clearly is a ritual aspect to this site. We've seen that notch on Long Meg. I think this site is as much about meeting, people getting together, something that stands out in the landscape where people can congregate and trade, that sort of thing. We've got that super henge beneath it that we've seen. My time bangle has just come off. We've got the Neolithic enclosure next to it, which predates it. It's one in a series of such places along the river valleys in this part of Cumbria. And then there's the design aspect. We've got the brightness of Long Meg herself. We've got the crystalline structure of the daughters. All this suggests to me that this was designed to stand out. And in fact, I read somewhere, I don't know if it was an expert or whether it was an amateur antiquarian like myself, who has identified that possibly there was some sort of white embankment thing going on as well, all designed to make it stand out so people can find it, meet, congregate and get together. There's been a hell of a lot of questions today. What am I doing? Why am I wearing those clothes? Etc, etc. But the good news is that I've picked up some subscribers, so welcome to the channel, guys, and I hope you enjoy the content. One of the lovely new subscribers that I've enlisted today has told me a slight variation on the mumbo jumbo thing about counting the stones and getting the same number twice. Apparently, if you do that, the witches all come back to life and presumably get you. To give some context to the location, over there we have got Cross Fell in the North Pennines. And then over there behind Meg herself, if you look up there, she's nicely aligned with Blencathra in the Northern Fells of the Lake District. And here we have a bit more mumbo jumbo for you. If we bring the camera down here to the base of Long Meg, you can see that people are bringing her offerings. That's my knees. So what have we got? We've got some flowers, we've got a stone with peace on it, we've got a sort of cone thing, bits of paper, and look, there's some of the obligatory crystals. I hope you've enjoyed our first journey in the time tunnel. Make sure you like and subscribe and all that sort of stuff. Right, I think it is time for me to get out of here. Thank goodness for this. Till next time. Whew. The first hot vlog of the year. I'm sure there will be many more to come, what with climate change and all that. I just want to clarify that the concept of the time bracelet and the time tunnel has not been introduced purely as a way to avoid the awkward endings that have, I admit, plagued this channel somewhat over the years. It has not been introduced for that reason. Thanks for watching.